Hey, what's up everyone? Life Forgot here with you, and this is a review on Knack 2, the latest installment from Japan Studio and Cherny games into the Knack Universe. Knack has a lot of wonderful things to offer any gamer of any experience level, from quick time events to some of the best power-ups seen in any game, but unfortunately that isn't enough to combat the bugs that plague Knack deep down in its wooden little core. So I have to rate Knack 2 a 6.5 out of 10. Let's find out why next. Knack 2 has some of the most lovable characters you could ever hope for. From the main protagonist, Knack himself, to your trusty sidekick and assistant, Lucas, to the wonderfully helpful and beautiful Ava. And who could forget Ryder, Lucas's uncle, who helps you in all of your mischievous adventures. But like I said before, this game gets taken down to a bite-sized Knack when it could have been an incredible 30-foot Knack force to be reckoned with. First up, let's look at sound. Knack 2 did an absolutely superb job in the sound and audio effects department.
Maybe it takes something like you to defeat you.
I loved hearing the clatter of little wood bits as you transform yourself back and forth between Little Knack and the unstoppable, powerful behemoth. The sound of every blast from a rifle, every swing of a sword, the breaking of power-up crystals is right up there with the fanfare from Star Wars. It is truly, indeed, iconic in every sense. I have to give it to Japan Studios and Cherny games. They had a great variety of characters from every ethnicity, and that does a great job in representing the diversity in the gaming community. It's not every day you have characters that look like everyday people, so I had to tip my hat off to them for that. I just wish that Cherny games would have done a better job in bringing out to life that lovable character that Knack is. Like for instance, in the end credits, I loved how the developers let Knack loose and started dancing to fancy tunes. But throughout the game, I feel like he takes himself a little bit too seriously. It would have been nice to see him more fleshed out, more approachable, maybe even just goofing off a little bit or showing emotion instead of just one-line answers. Next up is graphics. Knack 2 is absolutely no slouch in this department. I love the character design that is different with the enlarged heads. It's a welcome sight. It is a little bit different, but it's absolutely nice. When you have a look at your first cutscene, it is a wonderful painting to be admired and hung for future generations to marvel at. For having such a cartoonish look, even the level design is pretty darn good most of the time. There were a couple places in the levels that the textures weren't really, nice, but it's still pretty good. I also have to mention I like the menu layout. They look neat and very, very organized, easy to navigate and easy to read. The upgrade menu, I liked it, but it could have been room for improvement, but it still works. Next up is gameplay. This is where Knack 2 loses its way. There is a ton of things to make this game an awesome adventure, but unfortunately this is also where it does a lot wrong. It has to be said that the game has bugs, and it makes it unbearable and frustrating. I found myself asking, when is this game going to end? And that is never a good thing. Like I said, it does a lot right. Knack's fighting style is wonderful. You can tell that the developers did their homework and studied up in martial arts. From every kick to sweep to punch combination, it does it really spot on. It's just the parts of the game that just doesn't let you progress. I found myself nearing the clock tower and all of a sudden the game wouldn't advance. This happened to me at least 3 or 4 times in different locations, and it was just absolutely frustrating. The cutscene wouldn't kick in, or the game wouldn't detect that you beat the last enemy, so it wouldn't open up the next area for you. That was actually one of the most frustrating things that could happen. Also, finding the power-ups was a little bit too repetitive. You would always find yourself transforming into Little Knack, walking down a hallway that felt too long after about 20 times of doing this, and there you would receive your power-up. It would have been nice if they would have changed that around a little bit. Maybe letting a 36-foot Knack find power-ups somewhere different would have been a great change of pace. Another thing I found frustrating beyond belief was the way the AI would fight you. You would constantly be outnumbered, and the AI would just spam bombs at you, or arrows, or energy beams. Changing this aspect of the game would have been great in order to feel like you're not fighting the same way over and over and over again. At the beginning, I did see a lot of new enemies on almost every level, but once you defeated the goblins, which was about halfway through the game, the monks were allowed by the developers of the game to recycle the same old enemy robots, so you felt like there was really no difference between fighting a goblin horde or fighting power-hungry monks. Which, they both felt the same thing, like they were trying to accomplish the same goal, which was to take over the world. I just would have liked to have seen a little bit of different stuff. The enemies did start using different shields and stuff like that, but it just felt like it was the same bad guys. Now that is a lot of negatives, but there were positive. Fighting with the titans at your control was great. I had some of the best game I've had in a long time. I just wish that there was this more type of fighting would have happened more often. Or maybe jumping on a turret and taking out enemies instead of just letting us play for a couple seconds with the turret. That would have been a nice change of pace. Also, for such a great emphasis that was put on flying in the game, I think Cherny Games missed an opportunity with not putting at least one level where you can fly Lucas's new plane. Even if you don't fight enemies or if you're just flying through the air like you did back in the day in Star Fox, I think that would have been a great opportunity. So in conclusion, I did enjoy most of my time with this title. From running from titans to piloting them and really neat power-up fights, it was all good fun. Just the repetitiveness of the game, and at the end, just fighting the same enemies over and over again while being spammed with projectiles, and overall bugginess, it brought the game down a couple of notches down for me. I really think that the little gamer and the casual gamer will have a lot of fun with this title. Just be ready to provide a little bit of help with the multitude of puzzles that are in the game, which are really good. But you'll sometimes need to help out that little gamer in your life. At $39.99, I think that's a bit of a steep price for this type of game. I would recommend it, but I would wait until it's on sale, maybe at the $24.99 range. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. I am Light for God, and I am signing off. I will see you when I see you.